The first bullet tore through the hull of Logan Kane's hovercraft, throwing him sideways and cracking the windshield with a jagged spiderweb of glass. Sparks flew and alarms screamed, but he didn't pause. He was bleeding, chest burning with each inhale, yet his eyes locked on the movement below. Shadows flitted across the cratered terrain, a squad of mercenaries, weapons glinting under the dim twin suns of this barren asteroid. He knew their target wasn't him. It was the small, trembling figure trapped beneath the twisted metal of a cargo pod. "Hold on," he muttered, voice rough, spitting blood. He kicked open the hovercraft's side hatch, ignoring the pain in his shoulder. Gravity here was weak, but enough to make every motion dangerous. Every second counted. Every heartbeat risked Kiv, the alien boy whose cries barely made sound but vibrated in Logan's chest like a pulse he couldn't ignore. The boy's form was small and fragile, almost human, but with translucent skin and streaks of blue that pulsed softly. His fingers clutched at the wreckage, trying to pull himself free. Logan didn't know the species, but he understood fear and helplessness. The mercenaries' footsteps were closing. Logan's gut twisted with urgency. He ran across the fractured surface, shards of rock scattering under his boots. A second shot ricocheted off the hovercraft, sending a wave of heat across his face. He gritted his teeth, not allowing panic to take him. Reaching the pod, he grabbed a metal beam and lifted it with a roar of effort. The boy flinched but stayed still, sensing instinctively that Logan was the only chance he had. "Almost there," Logan said, voice low but fierce. "I got you." The third and fourth bullets tore through the air near his head. He pivoted, dodging reflexively while continuing to lift the beam with his other hand. Sweat and blood mixed on his skin. Each movement was agony, yet he refused to falter. His fingers burned, muscles screamed, but he had to save the boy. If he faltered, they would both die here in silence. Finally, with a groan, the pod shifted enough for Kiv to scramble free. The boy collapsed into Logan's arms, tiny, fragile, and shaking yet alive. The small glow on Kiv's skin flickered, almost like a thank you, but Logan didn't have time to notice. The mercenaries were coming faster now, their rifles raised, targeting them with deadly precision. He shoved Kiv behind his back, raising his own blaster. 7 shots had already grazed him, but he fired instinctively, taking down one mercenary with a clean hit, then another, then the next. The boy whimpered softly, his body trembling, and Logan's heart clenched. Every shot cost him more strength, but surrender was not an option. The 8th shot found its mark in his shoulder. He gritted his teeth, staggering but refusing to drop the boy. Pain exploded across his chest, but his mind was a sharpened blade of focus. He couldn't die here. Not yet. Not until Kiv was safe. A sudden rumble made him glance up. The twin suns reflected off something massive, a shadow so huge it blotted out the light for a heartbeat. Wings. Massive, iridescent, and terrifying. The alien queen. Her presence alone warped the gravity slightly, bending the horizon in impossible ways. She wasn't attacking, yet, but the shadow screamed dominance, curiosity, judgment. Logan didn't know if she would kill them or reward them, but he understood one thing. She was watching every move. "Stay close," he whispered to Kiv, backing toward a jagged ridge. His mind raced. He needed cover, a plan, anything to survive this nightmarish ambush. The boy's glowing streaks shifted rapidly, emotions flashing across his skin like an unknown code. Logan didn't understand it, but he sensed Kiv wanted something. Maybe a weapon. Maybe a shield. He had to improvise. Using the hovercraft's damaged console, Logan tore a panel free, exposing raw circuits. Sparks shot out as he connected a loose wire, improvising an energy pulse that crackled through the metal beam he still held. The mercenaries hesitated for a heartbeat, faces frozen in confusion. Logan seized the chance, shoving Kiv behind him and swinging the electrified beam with precision. One mercenary dropped. Another staggered back, smoke curling from his weapon. Logan didn't pause. He grabbed Kiv and sprinted for the ridge, limping heavily, ignoring every scream of pain from his own body. The queen's shadow lingered, wings folding like a predator's in the distance, watching, waiting. Logan's lungs burned, blood trickling from his mouth, but he had the boy. That small payoff was enough, for now. As they reached the ridge, Logan paused, gasping, supporting Kiv with both arms. Below, the mercenaries regrouped, shouting orders in a language Logan didn't understand. Somewhere above, the queen's gaze seemed to follow him, unreadable, almost human in her curiosity. "Why are you here?" Logan whispered to Kiv, more to himself than to the boy. But the boy's glowing patterns pulsed in response, a silent answer he couldn't decode. The horizon cracked with a sudden flash. A massive energy pulse lit the sky, and the ground shook violently. Logan grabbed Kiv tighter, instinct screaming at him that this was no ordinary ambush. The Queen's presence was about to change everything. And then, before he could take another breath, a shadow detached from the larger silhouette above, descending with terrifying speed toward them, faster than anything Logan had ever seen. Logan's heart froze. He knew survival wasn't guaranteed. Not for either of them. And that shadow was coming straight for them. The shadow hit the ground with a blast of wind so strong it knocked Logan and Kiv off their feet. Dust and fragments of rock filled the air. Logan rolled, shielding the boy as a massive winged figure landed with impossible grace, talons scraping the cratered rock. The Queen's full form was revealed now, tall, regal, scales shimmering like liquid silver, eyes glowing a deep violet that pierced through Logan's very soul. But she didn't attack. Not yet. She only watched as if weighing every choice he might make. Logan scrambled to his feet, dragging Kiv behind him. His body throbbed with pain from the 8 gunshots, each movement a dagger in his muscles. But survival meant action. He couldn't freeze, not when the mercenaries were regrouping below and the alien queen hovered above like judgment incarnate. The mercenaries had climbed higher, taking advantage of a small ridge, rifles aimed with deadly precision. Logan scanned the terrain, quickly calculating his options. The ridge offered some cover, but the incline would slow him. The forest of jagged rocks and metallic spires in the distance might provide better protection, but it meant moving Kiv across open ground. Better chance moving forward than hiding, Logan muttered, voice rasping. Kiv's glowing patterns shifted, rapid pulses like a warning or a plea. Logan wasn't sure, but instinct told him the boy wanted to run, and he trusted that instinct. He grabbed a chunk of debris and threw it with perfect aim, triggering a minor explosion that sent a mercenary flying backward. The distraction bought them a few precious seconds. Logan motioned for Kiv to follow and sprinted toward the jagged spires, limping but refusing to slow. Bullets hissed past and sparks flared where they struck metal. Pain screamed in his shoulder and ribs, but his mind was sharper than ever. Every step had a purpose. Every decision mattered. The spires loomed closer, an alien forest of jagged rock, pulsing faintly with bioluminescent veins. Logan had never seen terrain like this. It was both beautiful and deadly. He ducked behind a large shard, pressing Kiv against his chest. Stay low. Don't move unless I say so. Kiv's small hands pressed against Logan, and his glowing streaks pulsed faster, almost like a heartbeat in light. Logan studied him quickly. The boy wasn't just scared, he was signaling something, maybe a hidden ability. Logan's mind raced. If he could harness that somehow, it might give them the upper hand. He took a chance. Kiv touched the rock. Focus. The boy hesitated, then tentatively laid his hands on the jagged surface. The veins in the stone responded, glowing brighter. Energy crackled, and a faint shield formed around them, just enough to deflect a few incoming bullets. Logan's heart leapt. It was small, fragile, but it worked. The mercenaries shouted, confusion in their alien tongues. Logan grinned despite the pain. One small victory, but a vital one. He pushed forward, using Kiv's abilities to shield them from the worst fire, until they reached the relative safety of a narrow gorge. Good job, Logan whispered, panting. Keep it up. Kiv's glow dimmed slightly, a sign of exhaustion, but he didn't resist. They didn't have time to rest. The Queen's shadow remained in the sky, her gaze unbroken, and now Logan noticed something else. Other massive shapes in the distance, like sentinels or guardians, moving with deliberate precision. Something about this planet was alive and watching, and Logan realized the danger wasn't just mercenaries, it was the planet itself, and the Queen's empire that seemed to control it. Logan's shoulder throbbed with each heartbeat. Pain lanced through his ribs. He scanned the gorge, spotting a narrow ledge that could lead to a plateau above. It was a gamble. One wrong step and they could fall into the jagged rocks below, but it was the only chance to escape the mercenaries and possibly understand the Queen's intentions. He took Kiv's hand gently. We move fast. One step at a time. Trust me. The boy's glowing patterns brightened in response, a silent acknowledgement and a tiny payoff of reassurance. They started climbing. Bullets ricocheted off rock, sparks flying. The terrain was unstable, every footstep risked a landslide. Logan had to calculate angles, force, and timing with precision, using instinct honed from years of survival. Each movement had consequences, misstep and they would die. But Logan moved with calm determination, muscles screaming but mind razor sharp. Halfway up, the mercenaries reached the base of the gorge. Their weapons fired with deadly precision, and one slug tore through the air, grazing Logan's leg. Pain exploded and he nearly slipped. Kiv's glowing streaks flared wildly. Logan shouted, "Hold on!" and threw a rock down, causing a chain reaction that knocked two attackers off balance. The boy flinched but stayed close. Another small victory, but the danger escalated. Above, the queen shifted her wings, a subtle movement that caused the wind to howl through the gorge. Logan felt the pull of her presence, not malevolent yet but overwhelmingly powerful. He realized that escaping was only part of the problem. Understanding her, surviving her judgment and protecting Kiv, all of it mattered. One mistake could mean death not just for him but for the boy who had trusted him completely. They reached the plateau, panting, wounds burning but alive. Logan allowed himself a brief glance at Kiv. The boy's glow was dimmer now, exhausted, but a faint smile flickered across his features. A micro payoff, a reward for their struggle so far. Then, without warning, the ground beneath them trembled. A low, resonant hum filled the air, vibrating through rock and bone. The queen's wings beat once, and shadows of massive creatures began emerging from the jagged terrain around them. Sentinels of some kind, alive, enormous, and clearly hostile. Logan grabbed Kiv, backing up instinctively. The next moment would test everything he had. Their survival, the boy's mysterious abilities, and his own courage against impossible odds. And then he heard it, a soft, almost musical hum emanating from Kiv. The boy's glowing patterns shifted, and Logan realized that the next move wasn't just theirs, it was a signal of power they hadn't seen before, one that could change everything. The mercenaries weren't the only threat anymore. Something far larger, far more unpredictable was about to strike. Logan's heart hammered in his chest as the ground trembled beneath them. The jagged plateau offered some height, but it also left them exposed. The mercenaries at the base of the gorge were regrouping, muttering in alien tones that Logan didn't understand. Above, the queen's enormous wings shifted, stirring the air like a storm, and the sentinels emerging from the jagged terrain were unlike anything he had seen. Tall, armored, with glimmering, insect-like exoskeletons. Every movement of theirs radiated deadly precision. Kiv's glow flared brightly, lighting the plateau with soft pulses. Logan noticed that the boy's bioluminescence wasn't random, it was responding to the sentinels. Patterns formed, almost like signals or commands. Logan realized with a jolt that Kiv wasn't just scared. He was communicating, influencing the creatures somehow. "Focus, Kiv," Logan said, gritting his teeth against the pain from his gunshot wounds. He scanned the area, weighing options. Fighting them outright was suicide. Retreating downward meant falling into the mercenaries' crossfire. That left the only choice: leverage whatever Kiv could do. The boy's small hands rose instinctively, hovering over the glowing veins in the rocky plateau. Energy crackled, faint but undeniable. The sentinels froze, tilting their armored heads as if listening. Logan realized in awe that Kiv could command the environment itself, but only when he trusted someone fully. Logan's resolve hardened. He had to earn that trust, not by words but by action. "You've got me," Logan whispered. "I'm not leaving you." He forced a smile even as blood trickled down his temple. Kiv's glow brightened, a pulse that seemed to acknowledge Logan's promise. The boy moved closer to the edge of the plateau, small fingers tracing patterns in the rock, sending soft ripples of energy outward. The sentinels stiffened, then slowly stepped back, creating a narrow corridor between Logan and Kiv, and the mercenaries looked on in confusion. Logan seized the moment. He grabbed Kiv gently but firmly and sprinted toward the corridor, keeping low. Every muscle burned but he pushed through. The small payoff, a temporary safe path, was enough to keep them moving though the battle was far from over. As they passed through, Logan noticed faint glyphs etched into the jagged rock. Alien symbols glowing softly, almost like a map. Impulsively he traced one with his finger. The moment he did, the glyph flared brighter, illuminating a hidden path that spiraled upward toward the distant palace of the queen. The palace, Logan breathed. He had only glimpsed it from the horizon before, massive and looming, but never imagined a direct route. He glanced at Kiv, whose glow now pulsed rapidly, signaling urgency. "This is it. This is our chance." The climb was brutal. Jagged rocks scraped his hands, legs burned from exertion, and every step risked another landslide or trap. Behind them, the mercenaries realized what was happening. Shouts turned into frantic orders, and several began to climb after them. Logan knew they couldn't outrun them in open space, but Kiv's energy pulses offered a defensive advantage. Midway up the final incline, a sentinel moved suddenly, a massive exoskeletal creature blocking the path ahead. Logan froze, instinct screaming, but Kiv's glow shot upward in bright streaks, and the sentinel hesitated. The boy raised his small arms again. Energy rippled outward, slamming the creature against a rock face. It didn't die, but it staggered violently, giving Logan the split second he needed to push forward. They reached the palace gates, massive and ornate, carved from crystal-like stone that shimmered under the twin suns. Logan paused, chest heaving, hand pressed over Kiv's small one. The queen stood on the balcony above, watching, her eyes unreadable. Logan couldn't tell if she was pleased or angered by their survival. Suddenly, the gates opened on their own, slowly as if guided by unseen hands. Logan's pulse spiked. The corridor beyond was dark, enormous, but safe for now. He looked down at Kiv. The boy's glow dimmed slightly, exhausted but alive. Logan swallowed hard. Every decision, every step, every risk had led them here. But what awaited beyond those gates was unknown. As they stepped inside, a soft hum filled the air, reverberating through Logan's chest. Kiv's energy pulsed in perfect sync with it, revealing more patterns in the shadows. Symbols he couldn't yet read, yet he instinctively knew were warnings or instructions. "Stay close," Logan whispered, guiding the boy further inside. Pain lanced through his shoulder and ribs, but adrenaline masked most of it. His mind raced, calculating what they would face next. The queen, potential threats inside her palace, and the mercenaries who were sure to follow if they survived the ascent. Then the floor beneath them shuddered violently. Crystal panels along the walls glowed, illuminating the vast chamber in patterns of blue and violet. Logan realized with horror and awe, they weren't just inside the queen's palace. They were standing in a room alive with energy, connected to the entire palace network. Every pulse from Kiv made the walls shimmer, almost responding to him. Before Logan could react, a low voice echoed through the chamber, soft yet commanding. "So, the human survives 8 shots, and reaches my doors." The voice was calm but layered with authority and curiosity. The queen appeared at the far end of the chamber, descending slowly from a raised platform. Her wings folded gracefully, and her violet eyes fixed on Logan and Kiv. Logan felt the weight of 100 unspoken questions. Why did she let them live? Why was Kiv here? And what did she want from him? The queen stopped a few meters away, her gaze never leaving them. Logan's instincts screamed danger, but he also felt a spark of hope. She hadn't attacked. That meant his decisions had earned a tentative trust. "Step forward," she said. Her voice was neither threatening nor inviting, just expectant. Logan glanced at Kiv. The boy's glow pulsed softly as if urging him onward. Logan took a deep breath, lifting the boy gently. Every ounce of pain, every wound, every choice led to this moment. And then, without warning, the chamber walls shimmered violently. Hidden panels slid open, revealing shadows moving inside, shapes larger than the sentinels outside, with eyes that glowed in the darkness. They were alive, massive, and clearly watching. Logan froze, heart racing. The queen's chamber, which had seemed like a safe haven, was now filled with unknown threats. And one question burned hotter than all the rest. Was this a test, or a trap? Logan's lungs burned, each breath sharp with pain from the 8 gunshot wounds he had survived, yet he refused to falter. The chamber around him pulsed with energy, walls shimmering in response to Kiv's glowing streaks. Shadows moved behind the panels, massive shapes larger than any sentinel they had faced outside. Their eyes glowed faintly, calculating, alive. Logan's instincts screamed, fight or flee, but there was no clear escape. The queen remained calm, watching from her platform, wings folded yet radiating power. Logan didn't know if she intended to intervene or test him. Either way he had to act. The mercenaries hadn't followed, but he knew they would eventually. Survival depended on immediate, decisive action. "Stay close," Logan whispered to Kiv, pressing the boy's small hand against his chest. The boy's glow pulsed rapidly, reflecting fear and excitement. Logan realized that Kiv's energy wasn't just defensive, it could influence the room itself. The walls hummed stronger, ripples spreading as though responding to Kiv's unspoken commands. Logan's mind raced. He had a weapon, an ally, and sheer will, but he had to use them perfectly. The first shadow lunged, a hulking figure moving faster than Logan anticipated. He dove sideways, rolling across the crystalline floor, pain screaming up his legs. Kiv's energy flared, a sudden wave that slammed the creature back against the wall, leaving it stunned but not destroyed. Logan grabbed a fallen piece of metal debris and swung, striking the shadow's side. Sparks erupted, light reflecting across the chamber in chaotic patterns. Another shadow emerged and Logan fired his blaster instinctively. One shot grazed the creature, another ricocheted off the floor. His movements were precise despite the pain, every action calculated. Kiv's light streaks responded, pulsing faster with each strike. Logan realized the boy's abilities could amplify their attacks if he synchronized his moves with Kiv's energy. "Now Kiv. Focus it," Logan shouted, pain lancing through his ribs. The boy's glow shot upward, sending a ripple through the chamber that knocked two shadows back. Logan lunged forward, using the disruption to push toward the queen. Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise. Logan had no time to wonder what it meant, he needed answers and survival. Suddenly the walls themselves shifted. Hidden panels slid open, revealing more massive forms, larger and faster than the previous shadows. Logan's heart pounded. The queen didn't move. Her calm presence was a paradox. She radiated threat and safety simultaneously. Logan knew this was the ultimate test. Protect Kiv, survive the chamber, and somehow earn the queen's trust. Pain exploded in his shoulder, forcing him to stumble. A shadow slammed into him from the side. Logan gritted his teeth, taking the hit on purpose to push Kiv behind him. The boy's glow surged violently, energy streaking across the floor, striking the shadow like lightning. The creature collapsed, stunned. Logan grabbed Kiv and sprinted toward a crystalline staircase that spiraled upward to a balcony where the queen now hovered. The queen's wings beat once, sending a gust that knocked loose panels and debris around them. Logan's every step was perilous. His leg burned, ribs screamed, but he refused to slow. Each move had meaning. Each choice, risk, timing, sacrifice, was a lifeline for the boy. Almost there. Logan shouted, dragging Kiv behind him. The shadows regrouped below, clawing at the staircase, but Kiv's light pulsed again, rippling outward like a shield. Logan realized with awe that Kiv could control energy fields, not just defensively but offensively. He had underestimated the boy until now. At the top, Logan skidded onto the balcony, blood dripping, clothes torn, body trembling with exhaustion. The queen's violet eyes fixed on him, unreadable but intensely focused. "You survive through courage and calculation, but can you act without fear?" she asked, voice low, resonant. Logan didn't answer with words. He lifted Kiv, holding the boy in front of him as the shadows below surged one last time. Pain screamed through his body, but his mind was clear. Protect Kiv, survive, and act decisively. He extended his free arm, shouting, "Now Kiv." Kiv's glow exploded, energy surging outward in a wave that struck the shadows, sending them crashing into walls and the floor. The chamber shook violently, light flaring like fire across crystal surfaces. The queen's eyes widened, wings unfurling slightly as if impressed. Logan braced himself, blood dripping, muscles trembling, but he had achieved something impossible. He had neutralized the immediate threat, using human courage, intellect, and instinct in tandem with Kiv's alien power. The room fell silent, vibrations fading. Shadows recoiled, not destroyed but wary. Logan sank to one knee, clutching Kiv to his chest. The boy's glow dimmed slightly, exhaustion evident, but he was safe. Logan felt a brief surge of relief, a payoff after relentless danger. The queen stepped forward, landing gracefully. She regarded Logan with something closer to respect than judgment. "You understand him, and yourself," she said softly. "Few humans could have achieved this. Fewer still with your wounds." Logan looked down at his bloodied body, every movement a reminder of the pain he had endured. "He trusts me," Logan said quietly, "and I'll protect him. No matter what." The queen tilted her head, wings folding. "Trust is earned, human. You have earned mine, for now." Her eyes flicked to the chamber walls. "But the galaxy is watching. Danger is not over." Before Logan could ask what she meant, a tremor ran through the floor. Kiv's glow flickered violently. Logan's pulse spiked. Through the balcony windows, he glimpsed ships, hundreds of them, approaching the planet, casting long shadows over the palace. The queen's serene face hardened slightly, and Logan realized that surviving the chamber was only the beginning. Kiv stirred in his arms, small hands glowing faintly. Logan tightened his grip. He had protected the boy, fought impossible odds, and earned a tentative ally in the queen, but the universe was already escalating the stakes. And somewhere deep in the queen's gaze, Logan sensed the next test had already begun. Logan Kane collapsed against the crystal balcony, chest heaving, every wound screaming in protest. 8 gunshots, brutal climbs, crashing shadows, and yet he was still alive. Kiv nestled against his chest, small hands glowing faintly, exhausted but unharmed. The boy's light pulsed softly now, a steady heartbeat of reassurance. Logan closed his eyes for a moment, tasting victory and fear. Survival had a cost and he could feel it in every bone. The queen hovered nearby, wings folded elegantly. Her violet eyes softened, scanning Logan and Kiv with a mixture of curiosity and approval. Few humans, she said, voice low and resonant, possess courage tempered with intelligence and compassion. You are exceptional. Logan shook his head slightly, trying to find words despite the pain. I didn't do it for praise. I did it to keep him alive, he said, glancing down at Kiv. The boy's glowing streaks shifted gently, almost like a smile. Logan realized that in this moment the boy's survival was the true victory. The queen extended a clawed hand, delicate despite its size. She placed it lightly on Kiv's head. The boy stiffened briefly, then relaxed, his glow surging in response. Energy rippled outward, washing over the chamber walls, stabilizing the environment. The queen's gaze flicked to Logan. Your bond is rare. Stronger than some of my kind. Strong enough to influence more than this chamber, more than even I could have anticipated. Logan swallowed hard, muscles trembling. Every step of the journey, the hovercraft, the gunfire, the climb, the shadows, culminated here. Kiv had shown powers Logan couldn't fully comprehend, yet the boy's trust and courage had been humanely nurtured. Logan had survived because he refused to abandon hope, refused to yield, refused to act without purpose. That was the essence of humanity. He let himself rest for a moment, leaning against the crystalline railing, and noticed the view beyond the palace. The horizon stretched endlessly, jagged mountains interspersed with bioluminescent forests, alien cities shimmering in the distance. It was a dangerous, unpredictable world, but one in which a human could shine if they acted with courage and heart. Logan Kane, the queen said, her tone shifting, almost imperious. You've proven yourself, but the galaxy is not forgiving. You have allies now but also enemies who would see this child, and you, destroyed. Do you understand the weight of your choice? Logan looked at Kiv, whose glow flickered once more. The boy was small, vulnerable, and yet capable of unimaginable power. Logan's hand rested on his shoulder. I understand. And I'll protect him. No matter the cost. No matter the danger. His voice was quiet but unwavering. The queen's wings rustled softly. Good. That resolve, it will carry you farther than you know. The universe is watching humans closely now, Logan Kane. Your actions today are proof of what your species can achieve when faced with impossible odds. A small, almost intimate pause followed. Logan's bloodied hands trembled slightly, fatigue settling into every fiber of his body. Yet he felt pride, not in himself, but in his ability to nurture trust, protect life, and face impossible odds with determination. Humans were fragile, but they could also be extraordinary. Kiv stirred, glowing brighter for a moment. Logan realized the boy was responding to something beyond comprehension, a connection to the queen, to the palace, and perhaps to the wider galaxy. Logan's mind raced. What was Kiv capable of? Could his powers truly influence the queen's empire, or even reshape the battlefield that loomed outside? Logan didn't have the answers, but he had faith that they would face whatever came next, together. The queen stepped back, wings unfurling slightly. Rest now. Gather strength. You will need it. But remember this: courage, intelligence, and compassion, qualities uniquely human, can tip the balance in ways my kind has seldom seen. Her gaze lingered on Logan. And soon you will be tested again. Logan nodded, taking a slow, steadying breath. He adjusted Kiv in his arms, feeling the small weight of the boy's body, the subtle rhythm of his pulsing glow. Every scar, every wound, every desperate action had led to this fragile yet vital moment of safety. He had survived impossible odds not through raw power, but through human ingenuity, determination, and empathy. That was the true victory. The chamber fell silent, bathed in soft violet and blue light. Outside, he could see the faint shimmer of distant fleets, ships that would inevitably reach this planet, drawn by the power that Kiv now embodied. Logan realized that today's battle was only the beginning. The stakes were escalating far beyond what he could imagine. Yet he felt ready. Not invincible, not immortal, but alive, aware, and prepared to act. Kiv's small glow brightened once more, almost as if confirming Logan's unspoken vow. Logan hugged the boy closer, whispering, "We survived, but this is just the start. We'll face whatever comes next. Together." Above them, the queen's wings beat once, creating a faint gust. She didn't speak, but her gaze carried an unspoken message. The universe was watching and human courage would be a force no one could ignore. Logan understood. He had won today, but the adventure, and the threat, was far from over. As the twin suns set beyond the horizon, casting long shadows across the alien palace, Logan felt a quiet determination settle into his bones. This victory had been earned through grit, sacrifice and trust. But tomorrow would demand even more. And somewhere in the shadows beyond the palace, unseen eyes and ships were already moving, drawn by the boy's energy, signaling a challenge that would test Logan, and the extraordinary courage of humans, once again. Logan tightened his grip on Kiv, heart steady, mind sharp. The universe was dangerous, yes, but it had never faced humans like him before. And for the first time in a long while, he felt a spark of excitement amid the fear. This was survival. This was hope. And the next chapter of their story had only just begun.